And then we also help them with mapping of communities affected by areas, the coastal area, the agriculture, forests, freshwater, and health. And also strengthening the resilience of communities affected by climate change. The local government, because the high commitment from the government is there, they allocate a certain amount of money based on their own budget. But the budget is not enough. There where we support them from the national budget, and also we invite donors, therefore GTZ, ADB involving, but we at the central government need to coordinate what the donors must do in the local level. So with that kind of example, I think, I hope that we can show to the world, to the region, that the implementation is there at the local level and already being replicated to other provinces in Indonesia. But can you imagine that Indonesia consists of 17,500 islands? So we have a lot of work to do. But for that, we need support, because every island has different ecosystem. And we need more expertise on that, more scientists that involve. But the local scientists need to be empowered, need to be strengthened. That is what I would like to share with all of you. That is the real happening in Indonesia, and we can share, and we hope that we can replicate with the cooperation between South and South. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Minister. Before I come back to the provocateur, Madam Provocateur, may I throw any questions from the floor? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chair. I have no question, I have a comment. May I?
Yes, sir.
And so in regard of donors and recipients, when it comes to that recipient countries too much rely on donor side, and so to get resources to develop policies. In the other hand, and so I cannot say that recipient countries are victims, but in the meantime, they're too much approached by developing agencies. And so then, and there is actually, when it comes to, for example, GF resources, it was several years ago, and so then transfer from GF3 to GF4, and so then application of resource allocation frameworks. And so I've been part of the competition on behalf of one of the implementing agencies. And so then when it comes to such competition, we are not thinking about the final result and about the ownership. And that's why actually the solution should be, and so when it comes to the donors and recipient relationship, donor countries should think about the effectiveness of their resource allocation, and then maybe solution, and so to develop also twinning projects with recipient countries, and so along with and so contributing to trust a number of trust funds. Then when it comes to twinning projects, it will be actually quite indicative for donor country when they contribute indicative towards ability, in regard of ability of recipient country, and so to ensure ownership, then it will ensure, and so somehow so at least capacity and ownership. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Could we have your name, and if you could state your name?
Sorry, Talaybek Mateev, and so Executive Director of the Regional Environmental Center in Central Asia. Thank you.
Thank you. And would other people wishing to ask questions or make comments kindly give their name and their organization? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I'm Rajan Kothur from International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, Nepal, Kathmandu. I would like to, first of all, thank panelists and the provocateur. I have rather three comments to make, which can be converted into questions as well. And the first one is, of course, when you have global conventions and global negotiations, you land up with certain changes in your national policies and national acts which you have. But we often forget that communities on ground have their own institutional norms on social justice, on conflict management, and they are often ignored. And that's where the conflict starts. I would say that these communities in several or numerous countries where indigenous communities are there, an indigenous system like Panchayati Raj in India or VDCs in Nepal or Loya Jirga in Afghanistan, we often don't customize these institutional norms to the global norms and national norms, and that's a big issue. Second, that we have a conflict. You know, when we talk about national policies, the Wildlife Act may say totally different than the water policy, and water policy may be totally in conflict with the Local Governance Act. And that those cases are numerous in all the countries. So often we forget when we talk about adaptation of policies and legislation and regulations, that will need an intensive analysis of all the policies which are related or intersectoral policies. And first of all, you have to remove the conflicts between the policies which are existing in a particular country. The third thing is, whether we accept it or not, the transboundary conflicts will increase, and we know that. Those things are anyway happening. It will be about water, it will be about forest resources which are illegally traded between so many countries. We will definitely get up into a kind of a situation where there will be transboundary policies and transboundary legal frameworks. So we have to also start thinking about them, how we, apart from the global conventions and policies which we have, how do we really come out with a legal framework in case, for example, the Himalayas having a transboundary legal framework on forest issues. So these are key issues where millions of people who depend on forests or on water resources will be affected when we talk about the adaptation policies, because it's not adaptation policies of Nepal not affecting Bangladesh or India or vice versa. It is really about the regional issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being very frank and very honest and bringing to light some very crucial and important issues which are going to face with climate change. I think I have mentioned these issues also in some of my earlier talks, and I'm sure the Secretariat will take note of that. Do we have one more question? Yeah,
my name is Ancha Srinivasan from Asian Development Bank. I just wanted to highlight, I think all the panelists, first of all, I want to thank for the excellent interventions. The point is, everybody recognizes that adaptation is site-specific, local, and local capacities needs to be enhanced. That is a universal understanding. However, each government